Alright, hello everyone, it's Happy, and today we're going to be talking about the almost forgotten Object 140. When was the last time you ever really thought about this tank in Blitz? I mean, I barely think about this tank these days, and it is quite sad because it used to be one of those primary medium tanks in the whole game, but Wargaming, of course, decided to choose the T62A over this tank and buff this T62 while sort of removing the armor on this tank and making it super basic. At least that's what I think happened to this tank, right? Now, the armor profile on the 140 got nerfed even more. The turret is really not going to hold any more shots, especially after 10.3. And so this tank is really going to be mediocre when in comparison to the T62A when it comes to the armor profile. Like, seriously, the hull is weaker and so is the turret, and you don't really get much in return. Now, if you look at this tank, you do have 3.8k DPM, which is the highest among the Soviet medium tanks, and to be fair, among a lot of other medium tanks at tier 10. Now, the interesting thing is that this tank has a reload of 4.72, which is quite interesting to me. And that's a lot better than tanks like the Leopard, for example. But then again, the Leopard has an alpha of 360. So it's very hard to compare. If you compare this to the 121B, for example, then the 121B has a reload of over 6 seconds. So then again, the 140 seems to be very, very good when it comes to DPM. It will shred tanks to bits, and that is true, but you're going to have to try a little harder compared to the Leopard because of the smaller alpha, right? The smaller the alpha, the more you have to peak, the more the chances of you getting shots and losing HP and therefore dying. And so, in my opinion, it's easier to do damage in the Leopard compared to the 140. But apart from that, what does the 140 get? Now, the 140 has some good weapon handling. The aim time is the same as the Leopard. Of course, the Chinese tanks are going to be way better than the 140 when it comes to the aim time. But the dispersion is also pretty decent, to be fair. Same as that on the 121B. So that is not a bad number. When it comes to mobility, this tank is better than average. It's slower than the Leopard because the Leopard goes at 65 kilometers, while the 140 goes at 60. So you are a little bit slower than the Leopard, that is true, but to be fair, this tank does have a little bit better hull armor than that of the Leopard. The Leopard can be HE'd by a lot of tanks into the side, while the 140 is going to be a tiny bit trickier, and of course you will be able to ricochet a shot here and there from low pen tanks in the 140 just because of the way the hull is designed, right? So it's more or less ricochet prone, while the Leopard is just going to eat a lot of shots straight into the face, and it's just that the Leopard sucks that way. And the 140 is a Soviet tank, and therefore the mobility combined with the armor is going to be pretty decent, and it's better than that of the Leopard, at least in my opinion. Now, as I said, the strong points on this tank are definitely the gun. The gun is still very, very good, and the more important thing is the movement, so the weapon handling when it's moving or when the turret is rotating. So the accuracy when it comes to the 140 on the move is going to be much better than a lot of medium tanks. So you really need to keep this in mind, guys. The 140 is a move and shoot tank, sort of like a spray and pray gameplay like in CSGO, for example. The 140 is supposed to more or less be on the move. It's supposed to be one of those mobile medium tanks, and you really should be playing it as such. You don't want to come into a position and stand there and sort of use your armor, which you don't really have. You have 6 degrees of gun depression, so you can't really go hull down either. So again, you sort of want to be on the move. This tank has good mobility for it. Not the best, not the worst. It's better than average for sure. It has a good gun, and sometimes it will block a shell or two, especially on the move, because some people will shoot you and they'll ricochet a random angle. So overall, I'm still pretty happy with the 140, but in comparison to the T62A, I feel like this tank was sort of underdone. Again, my opinion. Tell me what you guys think about this in the comment section below. And with that, Happy is out, and I'll definitely see you guys next time. Bye-bye.